We started these stock talks about in March, I want to say. Jay caught this in March or so. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation going on. I've been trading stocks for a while. Jayden has as well, Derek. But this started with the NSBE Entrepreneurship Special Interest Group, and is partnered with the B.E.L.L group, which is a local entrepreneurship group in San Diego. And we're just bringing in good people like Miss Rilynn, one of our hosts now. So without further ado, we'll get into it. So this is the B.E.L.L NSBE Stock Talk. We have our great host as usual. I'll introduce Mr. Jayden Harps, and he can introduce our guest, and we'll get rolling. But the agenda is we'll have a great topic she's going to present. We'll open up the floor for any questions. No question is too easy or too hard. I'm gonna say too hard. Maybe some might be too hard, but for the most part, there's no silly question here. And then we'll talk about, we have a stock talk game that's going on right now, so we'll share the standings on that. And if anybody has any questions on how that works, you get a chance to see how the stock talk game works. We have our former 2 months ago stock talk champ on the call, Dr. Brian. I see you down there, brother. So I will hand it off to Mr. Jayden Harps, and he can hand it off to our host, and we'll get rolling.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? How you doing? I hope everybody's been getting all these text messages throughout the day and the week. Hope that's been helping, reminding y'all that, hey, stock talk is going on tonight. Like Brian was saying, my name is Jayden Harps. I'm the president for the Black Entrepreneurs, Leaders, and Learners, and also the programs chair for the NSBE Entrepreneurship Special Interest Group. And so, without further ado, I would love to go ahead and introduce the CEO of Dream Farmer, Miss Rilynn Boykins, and she's going to give y'all some tools and some resources to go ahead and get started how to get traded with the stock market. So, without further ado, give a nice digital round of applause for Miss Rilynn Boykins.
Yay! No, thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Jayden, for allowing me this opportunity to be able to host this stock talk. For those who don't know me, my name is Rilynn Boykins. I'm the founder and CEO of Dream Farmer Academy, where I teach professionals how to be entrepreneurial. And one of the things that I've learned as a business owner, more so this year than any year, is that you should be active in the stock market. And so I have been, just in my own journey, I have been really, really active in options trading, but not just with options trading, with just learning all of the different assets, all of the different markets, a lot of the different things that you can actually do as an individual retail investor. And so that's one of the reasons why I am talking about the basics of stocks. Which brings me to my topic for today is, learning all the different types of assets that you can trade on the stock market. Now, I'm not going to go over every single thing because we just don't have time, and I'm not an expert. So that's my disclaimer right there. I'm not licensed. This is purely for educational purposes. I do have resources for you to go and learn a little bit more. My goal, as far as my company and just as my personal mission to empower other people in our community, is really just to understand the basics and get the motivation behind wanting to learn on your own. Because I can sit here and tell you until my face turns blue, or somebody else can sit here and tell you, all this information, but if you don't have the motivation or the inspiration to want to go and learn it yourself, then that's kind of on you. So my goal is really to kind of push you guys into the direction to say, oh, you know what, let me go ahead and learn this a little bit more. Let me go and learn that a little bit more. So I've always been, trying to teach people how to fish on their own. So with the information that I'm going to share with you guys, don't hesitate to ask questions. There is a chat box right there. So if you want to ask questions, don't hesitate to ask. If I know the answer, I will give you that answer. But if I don't, I'm going to let you know that I don't. And at that point, I will most likely open up the floor for anybody to chime in if they do know, because once again, this is a community and I should not be knowing everything. So if you know something that I don't know, feel free to share that with us, because we would love to learn from everybody, not just from me. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. I do have a presentation, and I am going to actually give you access to this presentation afterwards because there are links inside of there. And so everything that I'm talking about, you'll be able to kind of, reference it, and I'll show you where the links are. So this Stock Talk is sponsored by, oh, look, haha, it's my dad. My dad's coming in here. Uh-oh. I'm just playing. So this Stock Talk is sponsored by the B.E.L.L Group and NSBE Entrepreneurship. So don't forget to go and follow them on Instagram. Here is their handle. So don't hesitate to follow them. Here is mine. My company is Dream Farmer Academy. So you can follow me at the Dream Farmer. I believe the B.E.L.L Group also has a Facebook group, and you can look it up under the B.E.L.L Group. You should be able to find it there. So don't hesitate to go and join that. There's a lot of great things that this group is doing. So go and look at those different events that are being put on. A lot of them are free. So don't hesitate to do that. And then also this will be recorded. So if you do miss it, or if you have to get off, or maybe there was somebody that you invited that was not able to attend, you can share the YouTube video with them, and they can still be able to see the Stock Talk. So there's a link right here for you to be able to go to the YouTube page and to subscribe, and then you'll be able to access all of the previous Stock Talks that were recorded since it started. So welcome. The topic that we're going to cover today in this very small amount of time is the different assets that you can trade on the stock market. Now, keep in mind, when I am sharing this information, I'm really speaking to I am speaking to the retail investor. A retail investor is an individual investor that is going on into the stock market and doing trades, whereas an institution is basically like a bank or an agency that is trading on behalf of their clients or the agency itself. Guys, don't forget to mute your microphones just to kind of eliminate some of the background noise. So when I speak today, I'm talking to you guys as retail investors, whether you are actually active right now or whether you want to be. This is for the retail investor. So there are some things that I'm not going to be talking about because it has nothing to do with us as a retail investor. Okay. Now, there's three main things that I really want to talk about today. Again, we don't have a lot of time. There's so much information to learn. So my goal is to expose you to the information so that way you can get the motivation to go and learn more about it, should you want to go down that route. So I'm going to talk about the difference between trading and investing. I'm going to talk about the different assets that you can trade as a retail investor. And then I'm going to talk about just a little bit about, picking the right stock brokerage firm for you to be able to go and invest those particular assets, because not every stock brokerage firm allows you to trade everything. So there is a little bit homework behind that. Now, the first thing, this is really, really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Don't try to make it complicated. The difference between trading and investing is that trading is more short-term for profits. It's usually under a year. It can happen within a day, within minutes. It can happen within weeks. It can happen within months. But it's usually not going to be no longer than a year as far as holding your positions. And investing is more related to long-term gains. So you can invest in an index, or you can invest in bonds, mutual funds. That's usually what 401ks go and invest in, IRAs when you do your retirement accounts. Those are some of the things that they look at, but you kind of need both. To be kind of a wholesome investor, you want to have a good mixture, a good diverse portfolio. So this is not to say that we're going to cancel out investing. We're just simply going to expose you guys to the trading part of investments, if that makes sense. Just don't make it difficult. That's really what it means. Now, here are some of the different assets that you can trade as a retail investor. So I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through this a little bit. Stocks, shares, and equity are terminologies that go hand in hand. So you might hear equity, or you might see equity, you might see stocks, or you might see shares. It all means the same thing. And it's basically having a piece of ownership from a publicly traded company. Now, in the last stock talk, I talked about IPOs. How does a company go through the process of being publicly traded? So once a company is publicly traded, then they have shares to be able to give to you guys as retail investors and as well as institutions to go and trade those on an exchange, which is an institution where you can go and trade. There are also exchange traded funds, which is for short ETFs. So you will also see those when you are looking at different stocks and doing your studies as well. It's basically a basket of securities from different sectors, different industries, with different currencies and commodities. And I'm going to talk about currencies and commodities in the next, in the next one. But it's really just a portfolio that has a bunch of them. So if you want to invest in several different industries, or maybe you invest in several different companies in the same industry, but you don't have the funds to be able to do that because it can be very costly, you can look for an ETF, and it kind of makes it a little bit easier for you to afford that. Commodities are raw material. No, you're not going to Home Depot buying mulch or anything like that. It's in a form where you can go into the stock market and you can actually purchase, or there are companies out there that deal with raw material and you can purchase their stocks. But usually you'll get commodities through futures as well as through stocks. So it's not, you're not actually you don't physically have the raw material. Raw materials can be, corn, it can be meat, it can be metals, it can be gold, silver, all those different things. So we'll go a little bit more when we talk about the examples. Forex. This is really interesting because and I know some of you guys might hear and see a lot about Forex, but for the longest time, I didn't know what Forex was. And then when I got into trading, even just following some of the people that I was learning from as far as options trading, I always saw like people spamming comments. I don't know if you guys ever seen that, but you always see like, hey, I've made $10,000 from a $2,000 investment by following Linda. Go ahead and click on Linda and follow her. You're going to see that a lot. Forex is a really, really large market. It's the biggest market that you can trade on within the whole scheme of the stock market. And it's all about currency, which is kind of interesting. Like I said, I didn't know anything about it. I always heard Forex. Forex stands for foreign exchange. But I just had no idea that that's what it was. That's what the asset is. So you are basically trading currency. It is a little bit more to get into Forex, more so than like an option, but it's awesome. So that's one of the things that I'm learning in my own personal pursuit of being a wholesome investor. So don't hesitate to look into that. Derivatives. Now, this is kind of what I like to invest in. And this is one of the things that was introduced to me first was options. Now, options are not the only derivative. There's also futures. Future contracts are derivatives. Let me explain what a derivative is, because it may not make sense to a lot of people, and it is very complicated. It's not the easiest thing to trade. A derivative is a contract that basically says that you have the right to buy or sell the underlying stock at a certain price, or underlying security at a certain price, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a stock. It can be an ETF. It can be a commodity. It can be index. It can be Forex. I believe you can actually do options with Forex. So it's derived from a main asset, an underlying asset. So that one is just a little bit trickier. There's some more things that goes behind trading options. Like I said, it's one of the most complex things to trade as a retail trader. You definitely want to do your homework first and practice trade with paper money if you're going to go that route, because you can lose your money very, very, very easy, very easy. But yeah, so that's one of the things that I personally like to trade is options. So those are kind of the different assets that you can get into as a retail trader. Remember, we're not talking about as an institution or long-term investments, okay? And then here are some examples. When you're looking at stocks, stocks usually have a ticker symbol, just as ETFs have ticker symbols, commodities have ticker symbols. But this is kind of an example, right? So this is one of the trends that a lot of people like to hop on who can actually afford it is Tesla. Tesla is a big, is a hot item right now. I don't trade Tesla. If anything, I'm going to trade something, a company like ARK, I believe, a company that works, or does something that has to do with Tesla. But I'm not going to jump into that. But this is a really big stock that a lot of people follow. IBM is another example of a stock. So their ticker is the same as their name, which makes it really easy. And Chipotle. Now, what I like about stocks is that from a business owner standpoint, and even from a professional standpoint, when you are working at a company, you can literally figure out if that company is publicly traded. So I worked at Roche, which is a biotech company that's based out of Oceanside, but they're also based out of Pleasanton, California, and South San Francisco. They own Genentech. I didn't realize until after I left the company that they were publicly traded. And it was kind of interesting to be able to watch them and to look at and to see that I had access to their financials, which I had no idea when I was working there. So being out of my job and into a business kind of gave me a different insight to stocks and companies, because when you're researching stocks, you're really researching the company who is giving those stocks out to us as investors. So when you are going out and about and you take interest, like let's say you like Chipotle and you're going to Chipotle all the time, why not trade in, you with that stock, right? So keep in mind that all these companies that we are going to every day, they are most likely publicly traded. And that right there kind of gives you an entry point as a beginner, especially as a beginner, that, hey, you know what, let me learn about this company and see how I can trade it. So I really like the fact that I can do that. Like everywhere that I go, I'm like, oh, is this publicly traded? I'm over here trying to look to see if there's a ticker symbol. And it really just changed the way that I do business as a consumer. So keep in mind when you are wanting to get into stocks or shares and equity. Exchange traded funds. Here's an example of a few of them. So there's Power Shares, which is now called QQQ, which is the ticker symbol. And they basically, they track the performance of the NASDAQ 100 index, which the NASDAQ 100 index is a basket of 100 of the largest, most active US companies that are on the NASDAQ stock exchange. So when you look at ETFs, a lot of the times these ETFs are set up to track performance of something that's bigger. A lot of the times we may not have the money to go and invest in, let's say, an index fund, because the index fund could be very expensive. And sometimes it's not, as a retail trader, it's not really for us. So to be able to get into some of those things, you can go and look for the ETF that actually tracks those indexes or indices, or the index funds. Another one is SPY. SPY is used a lot for those who watch the S&P 500. S&P 500 ETF is very expensive to take part in. So I like to use SPY. So when I see that that S&P 500 is going up, I kind of know that SPY is going to do well too. Then you have this one. I trade every now and again when the airlines is going up. I don't necessarily like to get in a specific airline. I did before and I made some money and it was great. Then I also lost some money, but I also learned that, instead of trying to go and find those specific airlines, I can go and look for an ETF for those airlines, and jets is one of those. It is they track a lot of different airline companies and companies that deal with like building the different parts and things like that. Is basically in the air, anything that's in the airline industry is kind of how they what they track. So ETFs are really good to trade. You know, don't sleep on those, but do your research. I like to save my money, so I'm always trying to look for ETFs. I'm trying to look for you know, things that are in baskets, right? Because like I said, if you want to trade in multiple things that are in the same industry, you might be able to find an ETF that's going to be able to fit your investor needs. Commodities. Commodities are raw materials, but you can actually go and invest in the companies that are using these raw materials or that are processing these raw materials. So you have SSR Mining. That's a company that mines for gold. You have BTG. That's another gold company that you can invest in. And then you also have Valero, right? How many of you guys have went to a Valero gas station? I know Valero is not all the way, you know, it may not be in the East Coast, but, well, I don't know if it's in the East Coast, but, you know, some of the gas stations that you guys are going to most likely have are part of a company that is publicly traded. And so Chevron is one, Exxon Mobil is one. Right now, they're not doing that well because of the economy, but it's good to know, you know, to have something in commodities as far as diversification, because when things do get a little bit better, that demand is going to go up, and you want to be in a good position to take advantage and to profit from that. So go commodities. Gold is really high right now. Just regular gold. Gold is high right now. So whoever got into gold, good for you guys. Silver, awesome. Forex. When I said that I was shocked about what Forex was, I didn't realize that not only that is currency, but when you trade Forex, you have to trade it in pairs. And so you're not just looking at one currency, you're looking at two currencies. And the way that the Forex market works is that when there are global, you have to look at global indicators, not just, you know, national indicators. You have to look at what's really going on in the world to be able to see, you know, how these currencies are going to move. So what's the news in Germany? What's the news in Australia? What's going on in Europe? So there's a broader sense of, you know, you have to research in a lot in these different countries to be able to really get a good handle on trading Forex. And then derivatives. So I actually wanted to show you guys through my Robinhood account. I don't use Robinhood anymore. I have like $10, $11 in there, and I have like one option that's gonna expire in December. So I don't really care about that account. I have since switched to TD Ameritrade since I have gotten out of my FOMO stage. FOMO is fear of missing out. It is very real. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I actually wanted to show you guys Robinhood. So I'm going to log in real quick. Oh, I'm already logged in. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show you exactly what it kind of looks like, because this is something that I'm more familiar with. So let's say that I want to look at, oh, there's so many of them that I can do. Let's do IBM. I'm just going to keep it real simple. My mind tends to want to go blank when it needs to not go blank. And this is one of those moments. Okay, so Robinhood is a really simple, beginner-friendly brokerage firm for a lot of retail investors who are wanting to get in. Usually there's some other things that are going on with Robinhood, but it's just really beginner-friendly, and it's really good to use when you're trying to learn, because the interface, they make it really simple. So what I simply just did is went into the search bar and I typed in IBM, and it gave me the ticker symbol. So that's what I see right here. Now you're going to see on the right-hand side that I can invest in the shares, which is right here. The market is not open, so it's not going to give me all of the options, but you're going to notice that right here, there are options. Now in TD Ameritrade, which is the other one that I have, it's very different. There's a totally different window where you have to access your options. And even for Forex and futures, there's a totally different window. But I just wanted to show you on here what it looks like. Because like I said, this is the one I am most familiar with. This is what you call an options chain. I'm not going to go through a whole class. I'm not going to teach you guys how to do this. I just want to show you that this is where your derivatives live at in terms of options. So when you're looking at an asset like IBM, or you're looking at another company, let's say Chipotle, you can see if there is an options available, because some companies don't have options, right? So this is what it looks like. And you can see that everything's it's a totally different game in here. It's not even priced like a regular share, but it does give you an opportunity to get into the market without purchasing the shares, because you're not actually purchasing the share, you're purchasing contracts. So derivatives are very complicated, but they can be very rewarding. And a lot of the times they're used to hedge a portfolio, which means that if your portfolio is going down, you can alternatively go and use options to help keep your portfolio, kind of leveled, or even make up for the loss that you've gotten from the stocks that you have. So this is what it looks like. All right, like I said, I'm not going to go into how it works because that's a whole nother story, but I am going to give you guys resources on where you can go and learn this. Here's another one. I just want to show you Chipotle because I know a lot of you guys know Chipotle. Their ticker number is CMG. If I click on it, they have options right here. Okay, this one doesn't. So Roche, this is the company that I was talking about that I used to work with, and I had no idea they were publicly traded. They don't have options right here. I don't know why, but they just don't. So some companies have them, some companies don't. So when you are going into learning, I'm going to go back into my presentation. When you're going and learning these different assets, make sure that it's available to you, because sometimes it may not be available. All right, so these are just examples. All right, let's just go over it again. Stocks, shares, equities, the terminology is used the same. It's the same thing. ETFs, or exchange traded funds, they are in the form of, it looks like a stock, but it's not quite a stock. They perform differently, but they follow performance of, other industries or a basket of securities. So if you don't want to purchase one stock, you can purchase multiple stocks using an ETF. You have your commodities. Your commodities are your raw materials, and there's a bunch of companies out there who process those raw materials that you can invest in. These are a few of them. Forex, you are trading currency, and you have to do it in pairs, but that comes with learning how to trade Forex, and Forex is traded on the foreign exchange market, which is the largest market in the world. And then you have derivatives, which are options and futures, are two examples of derivatives that you can trade. Here are just a few, or a handful, of brokerage firms that you can look into if you don't have one. When you are sourcing out a brokerage firm for a specific asset, it is important, and I say this with a lot of emphasis, it is important to do your research. Look at reviews. A lot of the times the brokerage firms offer educational materials, like TD Ameritrade is really good about offering tutorials. They teach you a lot about the things that you can trade. I have learned so much from TD Ameritrade alone, just from being a part of their brokerage firm. So we want to look at what is your need. You can have multiple brokerage firms if you want to. I know some people who have interactive brokers, because interactive brokers may have different stock exchange than other brokerage firms. Tasty Trades, I heard, is awesome as well, but sometimes they don't have like a lot of the educational material that TD Ameritrade might have. I heard really good things about Merrill Lynch. There's Fidelity. There's Webull. Webull is like Robinhood. It's like the better twin of Robinhood, if that makes sense. So a lot of people who use Robinhood also have Webull. So when they get frustrated with Robinhood, they say, oh, I'm just going to hop into Webull. It's very user-friendly for those who are beginners. You may not be able to trade everything. You're definitely not going to be able to trade Forex on there. Forex is you have to go to either TD Ameritrade or another brokerage firm that has that set up. But Webull is not that. You can trade some ETFs on there. You definitely can trade options, and you definitely can trade regular stocks on there. You can also get access to some commodity companies. But yeah, it's a really good beginner application to use if you're just getting into it. Do your research. Again, do your research before you do pick and choose. If you do want to explore the Forex market, make sure you're looking for a brokerage firm that is going to cater to you as a Forex investor or a Forex trader. So you want to look at those. I'm really big on going onto YouTube and looking at, reviews, because people will give you a review and they'll tell you like it is. So don't hesitate to look at those reviews. And then last but not least, I wanted to kind of give you guys just a couple of resources. You do not have to use these resources, okay? I just simply sharing something that I have found to be legit because there are a lot of companies, a lot of educational companies out there that are just not legit. They say that they're doing this and they're really not. And I have been following these people for a while now. And about 3 of these people I have taken courses with them. I come from in the industry of training and development. And when I look at courses, I always look at how well they cater to me as a student. How well in terms of trading? How well do they take, my questions or the student questions? I look at a lot of different things differently when I am a student of somebody else's courses. And these are some of the people that I have taken classes with, I have interacted with on some sort of level. And I vouch for them. There's only a couple of them that I'm affiliated with, but the rest of them I'm not. So let me just go over it. If you want to learn just basic stock trading, stocks 101, just understanding a little bit more of, how does it work? What are mutual funds, 401ks, IRAs, just kind of the whole thing that you should know as you are becoming an investor. I partnered with both of these people right here, these companies, not people, these companies, Urban Trader and Todd Capital. These two are both linked. Urban Trader is based out of Atlanta. Todd Capital, I can't remember where he's based out of. I want to say LA, but I'm not really sure. But he is licensed. Todd
LA.
Capital. You said what, Brian?
It is LA.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure because I know his other dude, he moved to Vegas. So I was like, I don't know who was where. But Todd Capital right now is really hot. His courses are really, really hot. It's very, very trendy, especially for the younger crowd. So you got, people who are like in their 20s and early 30s, and there's some people who are over, in their early 40s and up that take his course. But for the younger crowd, he is like really, really hot. So for those who are familiar with Todd Capital, you can access this course here. And this one is just the very basic stocks 101 fundamentals. Urban Trader is really good because I like the way that he teaches. He's very hands-on with his students. He's very present. And he talks a lot about how you can teach your children how to get into it while you're getting into it, and how to set them up for their accounts. So they both have their pros and their cons, which is why I put both of them on there, because I like them both, right? I'm a part of both of their communities. So don't hesitate to look into it if you do want to go and just learn the basics of stocks. Forex trading. Now, the only reason why I chose this company is because I watched this woman build her company. She's a part of the same group that I'm a part of in terms of it's a paid group to get us to build our companies. She's also part of some other groups that I'm a part of. But me and her have exchanged, and I've watched her, take her business from here to there, and seeing her, teaching Forex and how she teaches, I absolutely love it. And so this is SLFX Trading. It's Shakana. Her name is Shakana. She's an excellent teacher. She's a stay-at-home mother. She breaks it down. She's super affordable, and she is extremely legit. Like, you're not going to find anybody spamming her services. Okay. Forex is really hard to find people or educational companies to learn Forex. So just be mindful when you are searching other companies outside of what I'm showing you. Look at the reviews, read into, you know, what people are saying about that. Don't just go and just hop right in, because not everybody is legit. Options trading, Urban Trader and Todd Capital. Again, Urban Trader, his program includes both the fundamentals as well as options trading. He doesn't really trade anything else. He more is focused on empowerment, just getting people to understand the basics and in how to build that generational wealth. Todd Capital, he has a separate course on options. And then he also has an advanced course on options, that should you want to go a little bit further in that. And then futures trading, there were a couple people that I wanted to put on here, but this guy, he's pretty reputable. Him and his partner have created the Profit Room. His name is Ernest, and he's awesome. That's all he does. He just focuses on, you know, trading. He teaches people how to do futures trading, but he also teaches Forex. He teaches options. He teaches, you know, how to build your portfolio. But he's really big on futures trading, and he does not play when it comes to his students, his people. And he is very, very legit. So I just thought I'd just put those on there. The only two that I am affiliated with is Urban Trader and Todd Capital. Everybody else is because I've just been following them, and I see their work and I see their receipts. So I thought I'd just share it out of goodwill. Like I said, these are all links. So if you want to go and click on those when I share the slides, you're more than welcome to. With that being said, I'm going to open up the floor to see if there's any questions coming from you guys. Before I open up the floor, I did create a book for those who do want to start options trading. It is it's just a journal. When you get into trading, period, there's a thing called FOMO, fear of missing out. And sometimes, you know, when you see that you made a little gain, you know, it can like, oh, okay, you know, let me hop into this one. Let me hop into this one. And then you become an emotional trader. You definitely don't want to be emotional when you're trading. You want to be like a robot. So this book, look, Jayden got it right there. Woo, woo. Thanks, Jayden, for the support. It's an awesome book. It's really to help you maintain your emotions, because it really is 95% of emotions, trying to maintain your emotions, and 5% logic, you know, just sticking to the trading. So the goal is to plan your trades and train your plans. Get rid of those emotions, because people are going to eat off of your emotions. So it is available on Amazon, really affordable, $15, or you can go to dreamfarmer.org to get your copy. With that being said, are there any questions about what we just went over, or just stocks in general? Any questions? I hear somebody. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute so we can get the full screen, but don't hesitate to chime in.
This is Brian. My phone, all my phones die right now for some reason. But what about, I guess we'll open up the questions part, but I'll start with just a comment. Anybody have Gilead Sciences? You guys see the news on that this afternoon? Anybody been paying attention to that? Well, I guess
I have not. I sold them a long time ago when their prices started tanking.
Oh yeah. Well, they just got announced as the first company, or their drug is the first drug to be approved officially by the FDA for the coronavirus treatment. So
I did see that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So their stock has started to kind of jump up a little bit. It's just like, I think after market trading, it was up like $3 when I was looking in about 2 hours ago. It went from like 60 to 63. But I think that's definitely going to be some news to watch. And I'm sure there's going to be a couple other companies right behind them, like AstraZeneca. I think they're another company that has been doing well or has been kind of far along in the treatment stage. So that might be a good play for, you know, somebody looking to maybe try and catch a quick flip, or like you said earlier, what's the difference between a trade versus invest, for somebody that's looking to trade short term and potentially, you know, make a little money there.
What was the name of that you said? I'm sorry.
The first company is called Gilead. I don't know how to pronounce it, but somebody put there we go. GLD is their ticker, or GILD?
GILEAD is the name, I believe.
And then what's their ticker? Can somebody knows the ticker?
You were right with the ticker. It was GILD.
Okay. GILD. There you go. So that's a company, but as you go in there and in different apps, and Robinhood, for example, will tell you like at the bottom, similar companies. So that's how I find other companies. A lot of times I might start with like a big company, like a Tesla or something like that. And then at the bottom, they'll tell you similar companies. And I kind of click around and start to research. And that, you know, that's how I kind of see if I'm comfortable paying that type of price for that stock. But it may be another company, and, you know, they may be doing just as well with a lower stock price, you know. So that's just another way to kind of get familiar with stocks and find a comfort level for yourself. So any wins and anything you guys have played in the stock market lately that's won or lost for you?
I definitely lost.
Yeah, I got whooped pretty good. What'd you lose on?
It was when I had Marvel. It didn't really pan out. Yeah, it just didn't pan out. I should have took it out a long time ago, but I didn't cut the wrist, but that was my fault.
Yeah, for me, hey Jayden, real quick, I was trying to pull up the Stock Talk game, but could you pull it up to maybe get ready to do a screen share and talk about that? We had about 10 minutes left, so we're gonna, you know, talk about the Stock Talk game, any last minute questions, and we'll wrap it up from there unless you guys have questions and want to keep going. But for me, my loss was in I think Walmart. Walmart got me. I was in the Todd Capital channel, and I was trying to, you know, make a play from there, and I got beat pretty bad and lost a few $100s. And feel free to chime in if anybody has any wins or losses. But I'm transitioning over here to the Stock Talk game. I see Dr. Brian just left. He was one of our previous winners. But this month we have Jayden. Jayden, looks like Jayden's up right now. So I saw your portfolio. So tell me about your play, champ. Right now, it looks like you bought some Neo and some Apple.
Yeah, I remember in the beginning of the game, I was I think it was like around the time when, like, because Apple didn't they just come out with their phone, or I forgot what version of the number phone. So I was like, okay, this stock is probably gonna go up. And I remember Neo multiple times.
Shots fired.
Yeah, I remember when Neo many times we were talking about that in the Stock Talk. I was like, you know what, let me just check, you know, let me just trade and see what's up, you know. And Lord and behold, like, I literally was like, oh snap, they really do make you some money. Like, look, like it was at $21 when I bought it, and it went up all the way to 27. So I'm about to sell this puppy. So usually what what I usually do is for gains and stuff, I know we was talking about gains, I like to, when I hit like 20%, that's usually when I sell my stock, because that way it's like, okay, at least I get something, because tomorrow it might shoot all the way down to like $21. Who knows? So I'm going to get these gains. And then as far as with Apple, like, I'm probably going to get rid of that one. But yeah, so that was the reason why I bought those two stocks. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I'll admit I'm not trading. Go to Ryland's portfolio. I'm not trading this yet. No, don't go to mine. Go to Ryland. There's nothing there for me.
You ain't got nothing, man.
Yeah, I'm slacking this, but that's my secret. I just trade right at the end and beat everybody, you know.
All right.
But
okay, Ryland, I see you. What you got here?
I actually, with these, so I knew that Citi was I can't remember if they already did their earnings or not. I have to look, but I knew that their earnings was coming up. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pinpoint that. LVS was I have an approach or strategy where I look at to see if, between the 20-day moving average and the 200 moving day average, I kind of look to see if, if it's worth it, if it's discounted, if that makes sense. And LVS was looking kind of good. And so I was like, okay, I just haven't went in there since I have put it in there. So I'm kind of shocked to see that it looks pretty good. I was like, okay, I'm number 2. But yeah, I use my strategies to pick these 2, and then I just kind of like forget it. So I'm still testing out and seeing what works for me. And I can see that the strategy that I used, it works for me. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example of, why we created this game and what we're doing here. So for those who are new to the Stock Talk tonight to the Zoom, we started this game about 3 months ago now on Investopedia. It's a pretty good game. The only thing, it doesn't have an app, so you got to just log on from your phone browser or on the computer. But if anybody has any questions, if you're not sure, if you're scared, kind of to lose your money, or you don't know what's going to happen, this is a great way to test the waters and play and test different strategies and things like that. And the winner each month will get access to the Tide Capital channel we've discussed. You get 1 month free access. We'll pay for your first month, and if you want to keep it, then that's your decision. If you want to cancel it, at least you got a chance to kind of see what that was about as well. So we just really want to empower everyone, like Rilynn was saying early on. We're not professionals or anything of the sorts, but we believe in trying to grow our own ability to create generational wealth in those things. So if you have any questions or you want to join the Stock Talk, there's a number you can text. Jake, if you want to put that number in the chat, and if you text that number, you'll be added to our text list, and it'll inform you how to sign up for the Stock Talk and those things. So any other questions and any other just general questions? Like I said, we open up the floor. No question is too crazy.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you all for sharing this. So this is I'm not privy too much to the stock investing or stock option area. I actually am in the index lane. That's my lane. So this is very interesting. But what I wanted to know is, I heard about like buying like partial shares or something like that. Like I was in a conversation, I heard people talking about Tesla and it's so expensive, or maybe something else. And I know people were like buying partial shares. Are there advantages to that, or like what does that all mean? I didn't even know that was possible. So what does that mean?
You don't go broke.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you can go ahead.
No, I'm more interested in what you have to say.
I would say that you don't go broke. You get a chance to get a piece of the pie and get that return without having to invest, like, for example, $1,200 on Google. You can put in what you can, but still get that kickback because of the amount that you did invest. So it allows you to spread your nest egg over a larger playing field rather than having to put all of your money or capital in one source or one black box, if you would say.
So
but not all. I was just going to say not all people that you invest with will allow you to do so.
That answered my question. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah, I would say that's a great summary right there. Yeah, you're able to kind of still get a piece of that pie, but I think I have like some Amazon stock, but I have like 0.03 shares of Amazon. I think it was like, and the funny thing, I think it was still like a $200 or that I put into the stock, but I get to enjoy that rise when they make their little money. So Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about it yet so far. You still get dividends. I want to say, I think I have Apple stock and I have like a share and a half, and I still got some dividends as well, at least on Robinhood. I know maybe other platforms are doing it differently. So you still get to realize the same gains as if you had a full share.
But I don't think Webull allows you to do partial shares. I know Cash App does, but I don't think Webull does.
Mm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Rilynn, I did have a question. You said you made a mention when you're talking about the different like stocks, commodities, forex. You did mention index, and what did you say it wasn't really for everyone's lane? What do you mean by that?
Well, some index like the SP 500, a lot of the times indexes are trying to be the market, if that makes sense, because they're trying to make, they're trying to move the market. So sometimes you may not have the budget to be able to get into, trading indexes, unless you do. There's some indexes that are a little bit affordable. And indexes do have options, which is, I didn't want to mention that because it can be a little bit confusing. But that's what I meant, as far as the ones that a lot of people want to get into is, you're talking like $10,000 or $8,000 to get into that. And that could be really, tough for a retail investor to get into.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest misconception, because I think it's been like that with a lot of corporate companies and because that's the impression they want to give you. But and it do, like a lot of them you go to, they won't work with you unless you have like $10,000 to invest or anything. But that's where, I come in. My niche is more of working with with anyone, because we work with families, individuals, and it's no family left behind. So it doesn't matter how much you want to invest. You want to invest $100. There's definitely products that you can do that with. And the best thing about the index lane is you don't lose money. It mirrors the market, but it's not in the market. So there's security there, and growth, and tax advantages. So it's definitely, yeah. I do that. We do free education and training on that every week. And actually, we're working on to present a class on infinite banking, on how to create a family bank. Which should be
your information in the chat. I would love to connect with you on
sure.
that, because you're right. There is a huge stigma around that, and we need to break that.
What I see here is like, this is great for people that actually want to invest in stock, but then to take it a little further, take your earnings and put it somewhere where you can invest long-term and get the tax advantages and the safety that go along with it, so that you can create, growth over time for longevity. So,
okay. Thank you for the gems. Don't forget to put your information in the chat, or an email, or a website, or something that I can get in contact with you with.
Absolutely. But thank you so much for sharing. This is new, so I definitely wanted to always be a resource. So I want to know as much as I can when people ask me, questions about different things in the financial market. So I'm learning here. Appreciate it.
We all learning. We all learning.
We all learning. Yeah, we all learning. Yeah, I tell people too that ask questions about, what should they do. I'm like, we're all learning. Like, no one's professional. Like, there's people that go to school and spend years as interns and things like that and work on Wall Street, and they're still learning. And if it was that easy, they would all be rich, right? They wouldn't do it anymore because they would be stupendously rich and they wouldn't have to work anymore. But we, even the professionals that do this on the day in and day out have to work at it. And it is, at the end of the day, it's like legalized gambling. So don't get too hard on yourself, right? But the return is usually, in your favor, though. That's the difference, if you stick to the basics. But, with that said, we're going to wrap up this stock talk. We once again want to thank everybody for attending. coming up for the NSBE, the B.E.L.L world. There's a workshop this Friday, this Saturday. And speaking of financials, the topic is going to be called financial fitness. It's a business boot camp. So if you guys are interested, let us know. You can drop a line right now if you're interested, and we can, send you the link, or Jay, if you maybe want to upload the link to that real quick. If not, you can also follow the page on Instagram and get some more information. Black Entrepreneurs, Leaders, and Learners on Instagram. And then we have our first Tuesday coming back around in a couple of weeks. It'll be Election Tuesday. Our mastermind group, we'll talk about marketing in this next group. And then we'll be back for Stock Talk. Next month, we got to try and fit it in between the whole Thanksgiving holiday schedule. But in terms of that, I wanted to drop that last jewel. With the holidays coming up, think about companies that may do well. Think about changes that are going to happen. Obviously, think about the election. Pay attention to what's going on in the election and how that may shift some things, right? So by the time, the crazy thing, actually, by the time we meet again, we're going to have hopefully a new president. Excuse my political bias. But, pay attention to that and what that changes there. Cannabis may be something that benefits with a more liberal president, but also it may benefit other things the other way around right now as well. So definitely pay attention to those things, what's happening in our election. But yeah, once again, thank you to our host, Rilynn. Great job. Way to break it down. I learned a lot, about, all the terminology and things like that. Great professionalism. We appreciate the shout out. Single mother doing your thing, or doing that, working hard. And you said your dad was on here, right? Yeah, was that really your dad?
What up, Dad? No.
Your dad, Pop, showing love. We appreciate that. Like I said, when we started the call, we're family here. We just want to see everybody grow and do well. So with that said, once again, thank you for joining the Stock Talk. We'll see you guys next month. It's usually the third Thursday of each month. And stay tuned. If you want to join the Stock Talk game next month, please do. I love to see the activity on there. Everybody was pretty active. So I got to do my part and start trading. I think Adrian needs to trade. Almost everybody's traded this month. So that's what we want to get to. That means people are learning and experimenting and trying things out. So, I'll let the last little bit of messages flow in the chat real quick. But and Jaden, you want to say anything to close this out, and then I'll let you close this out.
Yeah. Not too much, y'all. Just thanks for tuning in as always. Even on election night, FDT, but hey, it's all good. Anyways, y'all have a great night. Continue to wash your hands, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Hopefully we see some folks Saturday as well. So, all right. Thank you everybody for joining the call.
Yep.
I posted the link for the presentation in the chat. Grab it.
Okay, yeah. Let's grab that. Yep.
And I got your information. Thank you so much. I'll be contacting you, my love.
Cool.
You're on mute.
Blessings. We seen Max on here. Max, did you have a question? I didn't get a chance to call on everybody like we usually do.
No, I got his info, man. He gave me his number. Out? Yeah. So
okay.
I'm gonna text him on the app.
Oh, Greg, is that you, Greg? Is that our brother Greg Brown?
Yes, that's me.
Oh, what's going on, man?
I'm just good. Just heading home.
Okay.
So I've been listening on the phone.
Working
information. Appreciate it.
Good.
Great presentation.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, Adrian, you gotta get busy on the chat on the game. Me and you slacking. We gotta start trading, man.
I know. I lost some money, man.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. What's we got? Another Brown in here. Philip, how you doing over there? We see you on mute and no video. Been chiming in. No, they're still on mute. Oh, there we go. Oh, they dropped. Oh, you're off mute. Go ahead. No, I can't hear you.
Like some
Static.
like some first contact.
I know. There we go.
All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Have a
That's
good night.
because you can only have one brown in the room. So.
One brown.